Alman,
Yeah, I have a question.
do you want to borrow the microphone?
Okay, there's a microphone.
My name is Armin Trellevik. I'm not a foreign agent, I'm a foreign journalist. I just want to ask the panel one question, because this foreign agent law was from 2012. In May 2015, there was a new law, unwanted law against иностранные foreign NGOs in Russia. I just want to ask you, was this planned from the start from Putin and his government, and does this mean that there is going to be more laws against civil society in Russia in the future?
Just going to mention that we don't have anyone from the Russian government, so, but if any of you feel that you can speak on this issue.
Да, на этом правительство не остановилось, власти России.
Yes, the government of Russia has not stopped at that.
Новые флажки расставляются.
There have been another marks installed.
Сейчас уже принят закон о том, что иностранные агенты не могут контролировать выборы.
Now there is a law that foreign agents are not supposed to control elections.
Если ты иностранный агент, ты не можешь участвовать в избирательной кампании и смотреть, как правильно или неправильно проходят эти выборы.
If you are a foreign agent, you are not allowed to take part in an election campaign to control if the campaign is fair.
В России есть такое направление правозащитной деятельности, как общественный контроль за местами лишения свободы.
There is a field of activity in the Russian public sphere as public control of penitentiary organizations.
В каждом регионе есть общественно-наблюдательные комиссии, состоящие из членов разных общественных организаций.
Each region has a public surveillance committee, and it includes representatives of various NGOs.
Так вот, сейчас разрабатывается проект закона о том, чтобы представители общественной организации иностранного агента, они не имеют права заниматься вот этим контролем за местами лишения свободы.
And now a draft law is being developed to bar such representatives of foreign agent organizations from such activity.
То есть Конституционный суд, рассматривая жалобы неправительственных организаций на вот этот закон, четко определил, что никакой дискриминации данный закон не должен нести в нашей стране.
And the Constitution Court, considering this appeal from NGOs, ruled that no discrimination should be performed by that law in Russia.
Но мнение Конституционного суда никто не учитывает. Мы видим на этих примерах о том, что дискриминация иностранных агентов, она существует, и она будет усиливаться.
But this concession court opinion is not taken into consideration, and we see that the participation of NGOs in such activities will be banned.
And do you think there are more laws to follow?
Думаете, еще появится закон?
Я ожидаю.
I would expect.
О запрете, скажите, о запрете контактов государственных учреждений
Да.
уже лежит.
Вы знаете, вот деньги иностранных пожертвователей общественной организации получают уже 15 лет, с начала 90-х годов.
You know, NGOs have been receiving financial support from foreign countries for 15 years, back from 1990s.
И были благополучные времена, когда мы сотрудничали с государственными структурами.
And there used to be a good time when we cooperated with government organizations.
Вот я возглавлял Забайкальский правозащитный центр. Главным нашим направлением было это выявление фактов пыток в полиции.
I used to be the chief manager of Забайкальский Civil Rights Center, and our main activity was investigation of tortures in the police.
В середине 2000-х годов у нас были заключены соглашения о взаимодействии с региональным УВД, УФСИНом, ну, со всеми правоохранительными структурами.
And in the middle 2000s, we had agreements with the regional police department and the regional penitentiary directorate, with everybody involved.
Мы вот также встречались за круглым столом с генералом, с большими погонами. Мы ему рассказывали о проблемах, которые существуют в его ведомстве. Он говорил о том, как он может устранить эти проблемы.
We used to sit at a round table with a high-rank general, and we told him about the existing problems, and he asked us how we could combat those problems.
Даже реформа МВД, которая, когда у нас милицию переименовали в полицию, перед этим было большое совещание в Москве, куда приглашали многие правозащитные организации, которые знают проблему полиции, милиции.
Even at the time of the police reform, when militia effectively was renamed as the police, there was a large discussion meeting in Moscow, and representatives of NGOs were invited.
Мы предлагали свои мероприятия, как улучшить реформу, провести реформу полицию, и эти мероприятия были учтены.
We made our own suggestions how and what events or measures should be implemented to make this reform better, and our proposals were taken into consideration.
Но когда появился ярлык «иностранный агент», сейчас разрабатывается проект о том, чтобы чиновники...
Он уже в Думе.
Он уже в Думе, да. Да. Не сегодня, завтра он будет принят.
And now the law is being discussed by the Duma, and it's going to be adopted like tomorrow.
И тогда любой чиновник, к которому придет правозащитнику с таким клеймом, он скажет: я с тобой не буду общаться, потому что ты иностранный агент.
And then any bureaucrat will refuse to talk to any human rights activist because he is a foreign agent and the bureaucrat is not supposed to have contacts with.
Why did this change, do you think? If I can ask the entire panel.
Я всем тогда задам вопрос, а почему такие изменения?
How did you move from being able to talk to like, high-ranking generals, as you say, to
Вы
this
могли
situation?
разговаривать с генералами, а теперь вы не можете. Почему это изменилось?
Ну, я полагаю, общая тенденция, определенные проблемы в стране, усиление авторитарного режима, проблемы взаимоотношений с Западом.
I think it's all in the course of the general trend. We are having certain issues in the country. The authoritarian regime is being reinforced. We are having certain issues with the West.
И необходимо объяснять народу, в чем проблема, кто виноват в том, что в стране уровень жизни, он все падает и падает.
And there is a need to explain to the people why the living standards are declining. Who is the faulty party?
У нас ходит в социальных сетях шутка, что если плохие дороги в том или ином городе, то виноват Обама.
We have a joke in social media that Obama is to be blamed for bad roads.
Если не платят пенсии, опять виноват Обама.
Or if a retirement pension is not paid, Obama is the faulty.
Ну и вот и получается, что параллельно с этим находят людей, на которых указывают пальцем и говорят: они иностранный агент, вот ваша проблема.
And at the same time, they just find people and they label them as foreign agents and they attribute the blame on those people.
If I may say, I think I see another angle in all this. I partly agree with Vitaly. But also, on the other hand, there are representatives of authorities who don't want to communicate with foreign agents or any other NGOs just because they are a bit, well, they don't want to lose their seat, their chair. It is also not very easy to talk to the opponents, and NGOs are very often the opponents to the government. So it might be so that they also could initiate such a law project, like ban us from conversation with NGOs. We see it a lot on different levels. So it's not only the state, the federal government to blame or something.
Yeah, I guess I just agree with what has been said, that what we now see in Russia is a typical way of behavior for an authoritarian regime or a regime that is increasingly authoritarian. You introduce new laws, you control more and more of your own society, you interpret the laws in an arbitrary way, and by doing that you create a lot of fear and you create a lot of uncertainty within society and among people, of course.
Are there any questions from the room? In that case, I'm going to move on to the final and probably most relevant questions from everyone here. In the Barents region, we've been able to cooperate across the Norwegian-Russian border and the Swedish-Russian, Finnish-Russian border for many, many years. What will happen with this cooperation now because of the foreign agent law, and makes it more and more difficult for, or more and more risky, I guess, for Russians to receive funding and cooperate with foreigners? How do you think we will be able to keep cooperating?
May I say, I think it's actually a question for nowadays chair of Barents Euro-Arctic Council, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Russia. So we will address it, of course, to them, but I don't want to be pessimistic. Of course, it sounds like everything is very, very bad and just going better and better. But, Russian people are fighters. And perhaps, actually, I never heard about, okay, one organization been pronounced an agent, closed down. Why can't they create new organization? I don't know, maybe it's a question to Vitaly. Maybe just create new organization and work on. You got blamed as an agent, you close down and you get a new organization. I don't see a problem, or...
Really?
yeah. Maybe.
May I ask a question? Isn't this just a question of connotation? We're dealing with the word agent in, you said in Soviet time, agent and spy were the same. It was not. The spy was much worse than the agent. The agent was more supposed to do something for their own country, while the spy was more fighting against their own country. Now with the term for an agent, the connotation of the word changed. And I try always to see problems from the other side. And as Björn said, it's a quality sign, quality stamp for organizations. So why don't you choose the way to be proud of this? And to see an increasing amount of foreign agents as a force which can join, and then suddenly the government has to deal with something it never thought about, because it will be a kind of union of foreign agents being proud that they are in this specific role. And as the Independent Band Observer wrote today, there are already tendencies that NGOs will build up groups for better negotiations with the government. So I think, even if it sounds so bad, everything we heard, I think there is a big potential to turn the whole thing around and to say, well, if you want us to be, I mean, it is not true that the foreign agent has to close down. It was very often said in one and the same sentence. Someone becomes a foreign agent and he closed down, or he was forced to close down. To be a foreign agent means to have much more paperwork, to be much more under control, to be much more prepared for unexpected controls. But besides this, a foreign agent can just go on and work. So this I see as a big chance that the foreign agencies combine their forces and build a union of foreign agencies which can have a common voice.
A fantastic vision of the union of foreign agents. So what do you think about it?
I just want to say that we have two different terms. First, it's foreign agent and Soviet agent. It's totally different sense. and we are foreign agent, that people will not see us like people who can do something good for Russia. It's first. Second, I cannot understand why no one didn't ask me, am I agree to be foreign agent or not. They just put stamp. I cannot see any reason to be agree with this. Next, I have to say that the main question is not about paper. The main question, yeah, we know each other. All NGOs know each other. We know how we can work. And I really want to believe that this idea can start part of our reality. But in true, I'm working day by day. And I want to say that I don't have enough energy and enough hopeness to. I don't believe that it could be like this, and I can do more if I will work like a volunteer, but not like a foreign agent. This is my view.
К почетному, в кавычках, званию иностранный агент еще прилагается куча обязанностей в плане отчетности, повышенной отчетности. Некоммерческие организации и так отчитываются достаточно хорошо.
The so-called honorable label of foreign agent comes in a package with a lot of more bureaucracy, while NGOs are supposed to deliver a lot of accounting without it.
Но если он станет иностранным агентом и не закроется, у него не будет времени заниматься своей уставной деятельностью.
But if the organization does not shut down, but register as a foreign agent, they might not physically have enough time to occupy in their primary activity.
Он будет только уделять основное время тому, чтобы успеть подготовить отчеты многочисленные, повторяющиеся отчеты раз за разом.
They will have to spend most of time preparing the reporting that might be repeating each other, but they will have to deliver them on time.
Чтобы вовремя успеть их сдать, не нарушить срок, не получить серьезный штраф.
So that they deliver without delay and avoid serious money fine.
И если он научится справляться с этой обязанностью, то, я полагаю, правительство придумает еще много других дополнительных обязанностей, которые опять возложат на иностранного агента.
And even if they learn to cope with all of this, I'm sure the government will think of something else that will be added on these duties to keep them still more busy.
Это можно назвать метод выключения. Вот, выключатель выключили, и все, иностранный агент только работает для того, чтобы готовить отчеты.
You can call this method switching out when the foreign agent is only occupied with delivering new reporting.
Well, if I may say, well, I agree that it's a lot of. You were right. You can continue to work. I mean, the organization can continue to work as a foreign agent. And continue the way it can. Well, but when it comes to Belona Murmansk, I cannot speak for the other NGOs. When the law was made, almost everybody, I guess, in our office said that if we are ever registered as foreign agents, for example, I'm not going to continue to work as a foreign agent. That's a personal decision. You can call it a quality stamp or whatever, but I'm flattered, but thank you, no. It was, well, I got it was only the beginning of the process. I didn't expect any advantages for this fantastic stamp, for having it, and I was expecting some more and more bad things to come. So when we were registered as foreign agents, we made the decision to close down. It was our decision, we discussed it, and well, nobody wanted to continue to work as a foreign agent. It is, well, I don't want to offend anybody, but I will now speak only from myself. I mean, it is not such a great honor to be a foreign agent in your own country, in your own motherland, where you are treated like somebody who is not doing a good thing. If it flatters somebody, okay, but not me.
don't see from here, but you're Norwegian, right? German. Okay. Well, I thought that what you said, like creating a professional union of foreign agents in Russia, it's quite a Norwegian or European thinking. Russians doesn't think so. We have quite interesting experience after Soviet period. Maybe not my generation, but my mother's generation. And I know that scareness, and I know what words, terms can mean and do. So, well, it will never come up in minds of Russians to create some kind of union. But even if it will be, I think it will create more problems to another NGOs.
Björn?
Yeah, two comments. I do think that in fact at a certain time there were some voices within Russian civil society arguing for let us turn it around, more or less in accordance with what you described. Let us all register as foreign agents and try to do the best out of it. But I guess they quickly came to the conclusion that the costs would be too high. But my second comment is on your question, what about the cooperation in the north? And I guess it is more important than for many years that we have institutions in this part of the world that try to establish more cooperation across the borders. It is clearly very difficult at the moment. The Barents Secretariat is one of those institutions. We need cooperation among civil society groups, we need cooperation among people, and we need to try to turn this development that we see today that goes in a negative direction around. But of course that is easier said than done. To a large extent this depends on the political will of governments and I guess to a large extent on the political will of the Russian government. We managed for a few years to not only cooperate with civil society in Russia but also with local government in the northwestern part of Russia. We had a quite developed cooperation with the governor's office in Murmansk. I guess that's now 8 to 10 years ago, concerning human rights education within the northwestern part of Russia. And that worked quite well. It was quite promising. But suddenly everything was stopped and we had no access anymore. This also to say that for us it is important to try to draw the Russian government into conversation, into contact and into cooperation where it is possible. But at the moment that is of course very difficult and extremely difficult for us. Thank you.
Well, I think I can add that I totally agree that we should try to turn that, and we should be quite open in our dialogue, and we should create serious, good dialogue with authorities and officials. Always tell what you do, always tell about your projects, always tell about your plans, and because we experience a lot of things, bad things, misunderstandings, but we also experience a lot of we experience that some people are, if I can say so, quite normal and understand the total situation in Russia and are really willing to help. And they are willing to try to find some ways maybe how we should create it. So I don't see a very great problem, just we need to work harder, maybe 2, 3 times harder now, and dialogue, open dialogue.
Yeah, I'm very optimistic at this way, and I think that when we are talking, we have to talk about different levels, and if we will talk about communication between people or between even NGOs, then I think no one don't want to stop our collaboration, and this is the main reason why I'm so optimistic. I know people in Norway, I know people in Murmansk, and I know that even we have all these conversations about foreign agents, people want to come to to Norway to spend a weekend, and Norwegians want to come to Murmansk to spend the weekend, and we can talk. Then I think this level is very potential.
Well, honestly, I don't see any much threat to the Barents Cooperation when this or that organization is labeled as a foreign agent. I mean, well, I honestly don't see that. It will. The Barents Cooperation is so successful and strong and lasts for so many years. It will continue this way or another.
I think we should end on that happy note. Like I mentioned, we lacked one voice here tonight, and that was the Russian government. They have said that if we do a similar talk in Nickel, they will come. So talk amongst yourself, gather a lot of good arguments for the next talk, which hopefully will be in Nickel, with some representatives of the Russian government. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much to our excellent panel, and not to mention interpreter on the end there.
Ja, ja, ja.